How do you balance it all? This is a question that I get so much. And I really believe the illusion of balance in the way that is usually sold is that an illusion. There is no such thing as true balance. That you're going to have seasons where you are doing more of one thing and less of another, but it's always going to be truly based on so many factors that is never really a goal for me. I would say that if anything, there are things that I prioritize and that I always prioritize, and where everything else falls in line after that varies based on what is going on in my life and again where my priorities are. And so at the time of this recording, we are so super busy right now. We have 2 weeks left before we start our Write a Novel with AI challenge in November. I am going to a couple of conferences between now and then. I am busy writing, and we have a very active and robust community over at DTW, and as well as the writers that are in the inner circle and our mentorship programs. And so with that said, all of that going on at one time does not overshadow or outweigh my priorities to my husband, to my children. They're grown, but when they call mama, and to our puppy Nico. And listen, he pretty much tries to run things, but he's not running anything. The reason why none of the other things overshadow my responsibilities as a wife and a mother to both my children and my fur baby is because they are the reason why I do all of it. The reason why I work diligently to, I'm on this campaign to buy my freedom. And that sounds so weird, but the way I see it in my mind is the way that I handle things now help to ensure how my life continues to thrive both now and in the future as we age and mature, right? And so I really encourage you to sit and prioritize. There are some things and some seasons that will require more of you. And that will take away from things that you may want to do, but you just can't give it any energy or bandwidth in this season. Be really clear about what those are. Because if you don't get clear about what those either tasks or projects are, then what happens is they leave these open loops in our head, or they can leave room for us to feel like we are failing, that we're unable to do the things that we want to do, and it just may not be the season. There are other projects that you may have that you really need to allocate regular, ongoing time towards those. And for me, those are the tasks that I block. So on Sundays and Mondays, I will sit down and look at my calendar for the week. And I intentionally will say, I want to give this 3 blocks of dedicated work time. I want to give it a daily block of dedicated work time. And as an example, right now, we are doing an overhaul on some of our programs that will be getting a refresh next year. And I can't sit down and give it a lot of time, but I can give it 2 to 3 blocks a week so that by the time it is time to launch them, it is all ready to go. Another example would be I have a coach, and I'm working on projects with my coach for myself and my business and my plans. And so I not only meet with my coaches, because it's more than one, on a weekly basis or some bi-weekly. But I also need to complete the task that I tell them that I'm going to work on. And so, because that's a priority right now, it's on my plate. So I give those examples so that you can stop and take a moment and say, what are my priorities and how do I weigh them? And when is the best time for me to either work on it, or do I need to put it off for another time or another month? Or like, I just like in my best, do my best and being very, very intentional. And so, with all that said, then make sure that you have time for a couple of other things that usually get etched out of everything else because they don't look like a priority, but they should. So what are those things? Self-care, that's a priority. It doesn't have to be every single day, and it can be every day for a few minutes. Like, y'all about to be very telling on myself. Like me, I don't know why, but I absolutely love, like, in the, like, my morning routine. People call that, I don't think it's really a routine, but it's the best way to lump it together. Like when I am, getting ready for the day, have my morning coffee, do my 50-step face routine, get your eyebrows ready, just get ready for the day. My morning walk, like my morning, how I greet the day is so important to me. My quiet time, read my Bible, read a book, spend time with my puppy, hang out with my husband. Like before I get to any work, then I sit down, I write for 2 to 3 hours. Like that is so important, and it takes time. So you have to prioritize that. And your self-care may look different. I go get my nails done. I go get my, I think you get it. Another thing that I feel like should be a priority that gets etched out often is crafts or hobbies or something that's not work and that's not family, but that gives you an opportunity to be in a space of either relaxation, creativity, exploring something that you really like. And I believe for me, I had to be really intentional about this because what I do for a living is what I enjoy as a hobby as well. I love reading, and that's what I also do for my business and my work with students. And so I will read books when I'm reading them with clients, and I read books that I'm reading for myself. It's really important that I have that distinction. And I also, as you know, I quilt. And I am learning to do watercolors better. I'm taking classes for watercolor. And I think the reason why I believe that should be a priority is because in the moments when I give myself that, I'm going to show you as an example. Right beside my desk, I have a hat that I'm knitting, right? Having moments to be able to give yourself, to be able to relax, to let your mind calm down, to be able to go into your day or to go back to your work like ready, just ready. So some sort of hobby, craft, and it doesn't have to be big. Another way that I have to sometimes do it because I am busy is I may want to actually pull out my watercolor paper and my watercolors, and I may not be able to. It may take more time than I can give it. So that's when I pull out my iPad and I just put on some music or listen to an audiobook, and I will do it on my iPad. But what I have found is when I do that, not only does it sort of decompress, but it gives my ideas room to come in. It's almost like when you're relaxed, your ideas feel like they can talk to you now. And so I get so much benefit out of that. You can also, depending on how you feel about it, use that time to listen to audiobooks. So you can do something that may help you be productive in your author and publishing pursuits while still giving to yourself. Okay. The final thing, and I struggle with this, but I work really hard at it, I really do, is finding time to make a priority for movement. Y'all, we sit and write and sit and are still a lot. We're on computers a lot. I personally have to think about, I have issues with my wrist sometimes, issues with my shoulder and my neck sometimes, depending on how much I'm sitting at my desk. And so I have to be very intentional about walking and yoga and just, even if it's just for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, doing that. This is all coming to you based on the question that I get asked: how do you do it all? And the answer is, you don't. You don't. Some days you get to it, some days you don't. But at the end of the day, if you have written out the steps, you know what the tasks are before you. If you saw my Notion page, you probably will hit the floor. But I know what's going on. I know where the status of things are. I know what's up next. I know what's going right. If you have those things, it will help you to sort of navigate through the day-to-day of getting those tasks accomplished and hitting those milestones so that you can reach the goals that you want to reach. It's totally possible. Whether your kids are young or whether your kids are grown or whether you're in a very busy season in your career or at your job, it's up to you to sit down and figure out what the priorities are and then allocate where any of your extra energy will go. So I will close with how. The actual practical how is after listing out everything, and every time, now I would show you if I had my phone, but I have a note usually on my phone, and I will sit down and kind of list everything out usually that I need to do that week or that day as it come to me. And then when I sit at my computer, I have a I don't know what I would call it, but let's just say it's a planner. I don't know, a calendar. It has all of that. And I can see what the big tasks are for each month. I can see what the tasks are for the given month. And then I can go in and add what I need to do for that week. And then everything else and the overflow and the day-to-day movement of everything is usually facilitated in my physical planner. It sits right beside me, which is why I can pick it up. I'm writing down things. I'm taking notes from meetings. And then anything that spills over or that really needs to go into my digital setup is there. Once I have all of that sort of laid out, that's when I go to my Google Calendar. And usually I just have found over the past few years, my Google Calendar is the sort of overall where I can look at it on site and know what I have to do. That's where all of my stuff is blocked out and all of my tasks are blocked out. And so I can't show you because it's on my phone, but that's where everything is blocked out on a week-to-week basis. So my priorities are blocked out and they're there every single week. And then I block everything else around them. So everything from when I take my lunch breaks, when it's time to stop for the day, when do I write, all of that is blocked out in my calendar in large blocks of time. Everything down to when students can schedule with me are in alignment with what my priorities are. When am I going for my walks? When am I going to read? When am I going to eat? And having that is how I can at any given moment stop, pull it up, look, and see what's going on. And I don't have to remember anything. y'all help us all if I have to remember. I remember stuff, but I don't. My schedule is usually to where I don't try to aim to remember all of that. I just don't. So it probably is really close to having a second brain. It's not as efficient yet because I have stuff in different places, but making sure that it is out of my head and I know exactly where to go to find it. Okay. If you have any questions about this, you know what to do. If you're a part of DTW, go ahead and bring it to the community and ask questions and we can talk about it, or bring it to our weekly Q&As. The same for Inner Circle. You can bring it to our regular meetings. This is something that really sort of gets perfected over time. And you really have to make it so that it looks like and feels like you. And it changes. A big change for me is I used to really have a normal calendar where it was, the weeklies and the monthly and all of that. And because my digital calendar now, or my digital setup, is so efficient, I'm going back to just a bullet journal, because now I really just need to be able to put stuff down that is going to then get shuffled, or where I just want to leave it handwritten. And you just have to allow for flexibility. And for that flexibility, I only make decisions like that, like big changes like that in my setup, usually once a year. Like, I'm doing this change for 2025 and I already knew it, but I complete the year the way that I've already set it up, and then I will move to a different analog system back, because I used to do bullet journal years ago, back to an analog system next year. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, add a comment below and let me know, how do you do it all? How do you maintain your schedule and your priorities and your hobbies? I'd also like to know, what are some of the things that you do other than writing? Because I'm always fascinated by that. I've been hearing some great things like coloring books, baby turtle watching, like all this stuff. So I'm always fascinated by that. I hope that you make room in your life to both pursue your dreams and to live a full life with the people you love. I will talk to you all hopefully sooner than later. Take care. I think that's it. Happy writing and goodbye.